have some things in the future to help out. So today we are going to focus on Healthy Eating 101, which we're going to talk about macronutrients, which are proteins, carbs, and fats, fluids, super essential. I see a lot of you guys, a couple of you guys have water bottles out there. Homeostasis, which is a fun topic to talk about. And then I'll be doing a presentation on fueling for performance. So swim meets, training, what you guys need to optimize your performance. And then future topics, hopefully I'll be doing a food demonstration. Tasty food, something that you guys would enjoy eating and is healthy and good for performance. Fueling for taper, as you guys wrap up your seasons and we get into championship season, I'd like to do some presentation on that kind of information. And then micronutrients, so those would be your iron, your calcium levels, just the little things that can add up to be really important. Alright, so macronutrients. Before I get started, do you guys all know what macronutrients are? Does anybody want to try and explain what macronutrients are? Does Nick know? Yes, well, proteins, carbs, and fats. Specifically, they're the large items that you consume that provide the most energy. They provide calories. Protein has 4 calories per gram. Carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, and fats have 9 calories per gram. That's why things with high fat in them have more calories. So macronutrients are what provides calories in the diet. So proteins, carbs, fats, eggs, bread, cheese. Alright, so we're going to start out with protein. The one really cool thing about protein is you don't actually use it for energy. People market protein drinks as for energy and for higher performance, but what they really do is build muscle and prevent muscle breakdown. So it's not used for energy, and it's really important for you guys when you're training that when your muscles get broken down by the hard work, they're going to be rebuilt by the things that you eat. So another thing you can do is really good for recovery is pairing it with carbohydrates. So I'm sure you guys are generally aware that chocolate milk is a good thing to consume after workouts and after training and after competitions because it's got the proper ratio of carbohydrates and protein that'll optimize your recovery process. So lean meats like chicken and beef, do you guys know why I would choose lean meats for you guys as opposed to hamburgers, other types of meats that are just a little bit higher in fat? Ribs, not exactly ideal source of protein. They taste good, but anybody have any ideas why the lean ones would be better? Yes? Less fat. Yes, yeah, exactly. Less fat, and it's more bang for your buck. You can consume more calories of healthy and proper foods when you choose the leaner styles. Grilled chicken, great. So eggs are one of the best sources of proteins. They have a lot of bioavailability. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this term. Some of you younger guys, even some of the high schoolers might not know what this term is. Does anybody have a good definition? Well, bioavailability is how your body uses a source to the extent to which your body uses the protein. So like eggs are extremely bioavailable. Almost all of the protein that you consume in the egg gets used. A lot of times other meats and other sources, you don't use all of the protein, and it's just somewhat of a waste. It just gets filtered through. So eggs are a great source. Dairy, they have a lot of protein in it. It can be tricky if you're lactose intolerant or dairy free, but there's definitely methods to get enough protein. Then vegetarian, it's essential for vegetarians to be getting enough protein. A lot of times if you're eating a vegetarian diet, it tends to be healthier, but you don't want to miss out on those essential proteins. So tofu, beans, nuts, peanut butter, all great sources of vegetarian, vegan foods that provide a lot of protein. So carbohydrates. So I like to refer to carbohydrates as a type of gasoline for your body. Your body uses carbohydrates to run. So your body's a car. You want it to be as fuel efficient as possible, and it needs gasoline. There's a type of substance in your body called glycogen. It's stored in your muscles that is basically just complicated carbohydrates that are used. Your brain runs on carbohydrates. Everything is essential around carbohydrates. So it takes the complex forms that you eat. So if you eat a piece of whole grain bread, basically it takes the complex whole grains, breaks it down to simple sugars, and then your body actually makes it into a more complex form to be stored. It's fascinating stuff, the way your body knows how to do that. And it's essential in the recovery process. You need to refill the gas tank every time that you deplete it when you work out or have a competition. Complex carbohydrates, those are the whole grains, the oats, the fruits, the healthy items that you guys are probably more familiar with. They're important because they keep your blood sugars constant. When you eat a complex carbohydrate, your blood sugars will raise steadily, and other hormones will work together to keep it high and in a good place. Um, simple, simple carbohydrates, on the other hand, those tend to create spikes in blood sugar, which then simultaneously create drops in blood sugar, which isn't ideal for performance. You want to be able to have a pretty steady state of blood or sugar in your blood. So they're not always bad. When it's in the form of candy, pop, cookies, those aren't ideal. But sports drinks, sports chews, fruit snacks, those are very good methods of raising your blood sugar that could be used as long as you have the timing right on it. You don't want to be performing when your blood sugars are really low, because then those are the workouts where you feel really tired and sluggish and can't train your hardest. So, like I said, cookies, candy, pop, white bread, pasta, potatoes, fruit snacks, those are all sources that they have their place. I'm not saying don't ever eat these treats, but when it's in relation to performance and training and competition, you want to try and limit those to best perform. Alright, fats. So, your body has this neat way of when you run out of carbohydrates in the body, it can use fats. When you have nothing else to run on, this is those really hard workouts. You might have a crash, you might be really hurting in a set, and then later on, 10 minutes later in the set, you kind of get a second burst of energy. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, but that's the fat is being used. It's not as ideal to use just because it takes a lot more energy, and it's used in aerobic. So aerobic is when you're doing those long threshold sets, lots of breathing, not very high-powered stuff, because you get more energy from it than from carbs. Because I said fats are 9 calories per gram, so when you're burning a gram of fat, you're burning 9 calories essentially. The math works out a little bit different in the body, but something like that. So poly and monounsaturated fats, I don't know how familiar you guys are with these, but these are considered the healthy fats. These are what are found in nuts, peanut butter, fish, vegetable oil. These are great things to consume, just part of a healthy diet, and they can really be beneficial. There's also saturated fats, which are found in lean meats, dairy. People tend to regard them as less healthy, but they're finding that when it's from a natural food source like meat or dairy, it's really not that bad for your body. You just don't want to only be consuming that. So chicken, beef, coconut oil, cheese. It's not the worst thing in the world, but you still want to limit it a little bit. Hi, come on in. Alright, so trans fats. You guys have probably heard about this in class before. They are pretty much the worst things you can possibly put in your body as a food. They clog your blood vessels, makes your heart work harder, just not ideal for healthy living and performance. Partially hydrogenated oils, does anybody know what those are? They're a sneaky way of saying they're trans fats. So you will see on very unfortunate. A lot of baked goods, fried foods, all that, the good stuff usually tends to have trans fat in them. So avoiding those as best as possible. That's really the only, you can enjoy sweet treats, you can enjoy those things every once in a while in moderation, but trans fats, kind of a no-no. So fluids. I've noticed a lot of people, I get after my senior group guys a lot when they don't bring their water bottles to practice. Does anybody know how much of the body is made out of water? Does anybody have a guess? Remy? Very close, yep. A little bit lower. Wes? Well, depending on, yeah, that's a very specific answer. It's between 55 and 65% of the body is water, which is why it is essential. Critical for muscle movement, just keeping your body in check. If you don't have enough water, your muscle will cramp up. That's kind of, there's two reasons you get cramps. Half of it is enough water. The other half of it is sodium. Sodium keeps the water inside the muscle. I'm not trying to say you guys should be eating salt before every workout and consuming a lot of salty products, but you do need a little bit in the diet for your water to stay in the muscle. Yeah, don't go overboard on it. It's not what I'm trying to encourage here, but we're lucky in that we have, oh yeah, so if you drink plenty of water and don't have any sodium, you're going to cramp up. Same thing if you have too much sodium and you don't drink enough water, you're going to cramp up. Nobody likes that. I've seen a couple people, getting out, stretching their muscles. It's not a fun experience. So we're lucky that as athletes, we have access to sports drinks. Sports drinks are multifunctional. They provide fluids, they provide carbohydrates, which you need to perform, and also sodium, which keeps the fluid in your muscles. So I'm not saying to drink Gatorade all the time, but really hard workout sessions, Gatorade, Powerade, all that good stuff could definitely benefit your performance and make training a little bit easier, prevent cramps a little bit, and keep your blood sugars raised a little bit. So why do we need a balanced diet? This is a really interesting piece of it. So I mentioned before, your blood sugar can spike. Insulin, which is a hormone that lowers your blood sugar, it works together to make sure that your body stays at a normal range so that it can function properly. Does anybody have a really good explanation of what homeostasis is? Remy?
Process where your body maintains stable.
Yes, very good. So your body maintains stable and current conditions. It does this with temperatures. That's why your body regulates your temperature. You need fluids to regulate that as well. That's why when you have a fever, you don't feel so well because your body wants to be in a steady state. So I'm going to draw a little bit of a couple graphs here. Hopefully they don't need this. The first one is what happens when you consume a really high carbohydrate meal. So this is a graph of what your blood sugars do. So you eat a big meal, spikes, goes right down, spikes, goes right down. Training's a little bit in there. That's kind of what it would look like. I'll show you a sample meal here. It's not an unreasonable day for a lot of you guys. I know people that eat this every day. It doesn't look super unhealthy, but there's definitely some improvements to be made. So breakfast, pancakes and syrup and fruit. Lunch is the peanut butter and jelly, potato chips, and a cookie. Your snack is fruit snacks and crackers. Dinner would be pasta, tomato sauce, and garlic bread. It's just like not a ridiculous meal for people to have. I need help from you guys to figure out what's missing, what can be fixed. Wes? More protein, correct. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead. Dairy, yeah, very good. That would be a really good source of protein. Calcium's really good for you guys, especially since probably all of you are still growing in some way. Daniel? Way too much sugar, yes.